I just found out cockfighting was done with roosters. 6 months of training, out the door.
And now, another hour into the OUCHCAST.
Hello. You like that intro?
I feel personally attacked.
Do it again.
And now, another hour into the OUCHCAST.
You know what that is?
No, I have no idea.
That's AI.
Oh, what?
No way.
That's AI.
How did you hire Tron to do that?
And now, another hour into the OUCHCAST.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So
Tron, huh?
Yeah.
we get that
it's
free
the
labor?
reality.
Is that SAG free, or who'd have to pay for that?
Synthesia, I think is the name of the fucking.
Is it a chat GBT company?
No, it's a video.
Subsidiary?
It's a video tutorial AI. So what it does is basically it does these little videos where like these fake humans, and they're like, you know, they'll say something, but they're like they look like human.
And now, another hour into the OUCHCAST.
But he didn't make any jokes about wieners or.
Because I didn't type it in.
Oh,
You didn't.
you didn't type it in. I don't believe that.
You know what?
Well, it's a demo. I couldn't do my check. I only had certain characters, so I had
Angel,
to get to the
I'm
point.
certain that after 10 minutes of talking with you, it's going to try to come on to you, man. All the eye contact you make and all the penis jokes. I mean, come on.
Hey. None of that here. None of that here.
Oh, you heard, right? I mean, it doesn't take long for an AI to either start trying to break up your marriage or threaten nuclear destruction on all of us, which is
declare Hitler was right.
Or yeah, because you know what, internet, man. It always comes back to the internet. That's why the internet trained AI.
It's all by the programming that the people put into it.
Of course, because if people are racist, what makes you think that AI wouldn't be racist?
You're racist.
Well,
So
that's the interesting point, because you see, this is the cognitive dissonance right there. Because on one hand, there's no racism. What are you talking about? If you hear the conservative talking points, there's no racism. There's no inherent bias in any of our systems, our institution. No, of course not. And then suddenly, you just give a box.
Fucking spin doctors.
Well, I'm just saying, you give people access to a box of information that we've been using for the past 30 years, right? And then train it to like come up with values from that, and guess what? Suddenly AI is a little biased,
and it locates the patterns of how we've functioned as a society.
Sure.
And so there you go. I don't know. I think it's going to pick up on the biased.
Yes.
It's sad because you know how like your camera phone won't even pick up like people who are too dark.
Yeah. I know some people at bars that also don't pick up on people that are too dark. So I mean, it's out there, guys. That's all I'm saying. I'm not one of those. But I'm just saying.
I'm not one of those.
I may or may not have run into her once or twice. I don't know if it was just me or if it was somebody else, but she wanted nothing to do. But you know what? In all fairness, that also plays into its own privilege every once in a while. So that's the thing. Oh no!
Hey, is that an AI George Takei, or
No,
did
it's
you
a
hire
regular
him?
one.
So
If you have noticed, George isn't here. He's out, so he's not really in this conversation.
So
And,
you're replacing him with George Takei? That's genius.
we're replacing him with artificial intelligence, George.
yeah, basically.
Does he also believe the Earth is flat? Yes, he does.
No, the AI version.
That's what I'm.
saying.
You know what we need to do, guys? We need to have like a little box of recording of all of us, like different things that we normally say, so that when we're not here, like Angel can just go crazy with that shit.
That's a good idea.
That is not a bad idea.
So for his, it'll just be like conspiracy.
Fake news.
Yeah,
Fake
alkaline
news.
water.
Alkaline water.
The frogs are gay. Oh, sorry, wrong guy. Wrong
the other
guy.
guy.
Libertards. Liberty.
That's the other guy. That's the other guy. That's
okay.
InfoWars.
No, that's Hannity.
Oh, whatever. They're all fucking interchangeable.
You know-
They're all robots.
I love listening to our old podcasts, and like there's these little bits and pieces that just crack me up. In that time that Angel said, "They're turning the frogs gay," when Angel said that, I started cracking up again because he was trying to do like his impression of what's his face.
Alex Jones,
yeah, and then Angel just came out with that. I was like, damn, I wasn't ready for it. I had water in my mouth and I spat it out. It was fucking funny.
That was on our episode "Sexy Tadpoles." If anyone's interested.
That episode in talking about Alex Jones and all his idiocy, like if you think back to like when Alex Jones was a thing, you know, like I don't even know how InfoWars is still a thing, but
there's a lot of fucking crackheads out there who are
I
still
mean,
fucking right wing, fucking
okay.
racist
So,
conservatives and
like,
shit.
how did it even come about in the first place? It was like they had a few things that were true, and then, you know, they obviously inflated the headlines and some of the articles and the things that they were talking about, and so they went so like radical that people were like, "Dude, you're egregiously like offensive and wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you know what I think what happens is people have cracked the code. Like they've realized, you know, just like AI eventually finds out like all our patterns of dialogue and biases. I think that people like today have understood that there was a code we had before, they cracked it, and now like they know the fact is that lies are stronger than truth. And so like, you know, what ends up happening then is this guy, Alex Jones, knows that he can just act like nothing happened and people will still come along with him. It'll just happen.
You know, there's this weird thing with like Alex Jones that I mean, well, really all conspiracy to a certain degree. There's a little bit of truth, and then they try to monetize it, and you can't monetize the truth. There's not that much truth that you need to like expose. And once you talk about like these few inherent things, it's like people are trying to like, they're trying to turn truth into content, and you can't do that because, you know, like if you're going to expose something serious, then like there's not like 100 more things to make content on. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be coming up with new truths that you're exposing. And so I think the problem is when we try to like do that, what ends up happening is you end up making up stuff just to try to sound interesting or to get clicks, and then like eventually you go off the rails, and then you just lose the whole integrity of the truth in the first place.
You know, I think that's true. You know, money moves everything, right? And so like when it comes to like Alex Jones is a good example of that. And I know this episode's not supposed to be about Alex Jones, so we will absolutely move out of this topic as quick as possible. But you know, I think what happens, and the simple truth is that he was making way too much money to let it go.
Yeah.
And as long as he continues to act like nothing happened and people are still paying him money for that, he's going to continue to do it. And I think that's true of all liars, on both sides of the aisles, on all sides of ideologies, is that you know, we can even replace money with value. Whatever somebody values, they either value the attention, they value the money, or a mixture of all of it. They're going to continue to do it even when they've been exposed. I mean, George Santos is a good example of that. This guy,
George Santos, jeez.
What is that guy from?
Is he an AI?
God, he would be the worst AI ever.
No, he's not the only one. There was another one who came on board who was basically saying that she was of Jewish descent.
Okay.
And it turns out, no, she's not of Jewish descent. She's of Nazi descent. She's a German. Her great-grandfather, no, her grandfather was a German Nazi, actually, and they hid that information.
I can think of 3 examples of something like George Santos. There was the guy's currently here in L.A., the guy from the council, the ones who all said those racist things, and the guy said, "No,
yes,
I'm not.
yes.
I'm not quitting." And you know what? They can't do anything. Our systems are girded against this guy getting fired. So he's still getting paid. And all he has to do every now and then is just chime in once or twice and as part of his job, so he can say that he's doing his job, and he continues on. The second one is, what's her name? What was that lady? She was running for president. She's a Democrat.
AOC?
No. Oh my gosh, the name just escaped me. Watch, I'm gonna tell you about her, and then you can tell me her name because you guys don't know it. She said that she was part Indian, but she wasn't. She's like the whitest woman ever. Old lady glasses.
Yeah.
I can't
Warren.
even. There you go, Elizabeth
Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, I mean, come on. She said something that was patently untrue, and you know, until they outed her, and guess what? She persists on. And then the third one that I can think of, currently think of is oh gosh, I lost my mind already on it. Forget it. Anyways, better that I forget them. But AI.
Don't give them the information.
Yeah, see, not to delve into politics, but I just want to throw this out there. Any politician caught in a lie should have to do a mandatory 10-year sentence because
then the
all
Congress
of them
would be empty.
Exactly.
It'd
But
be a janitor in the background just going, "I'm just washing."
if they're the hey, elected janitor, janitor for Congress,
New mops for everyone.
and you know what it is these jerks get paid for life.
Mm-hmm.
They get a salary for life for doing the job, and they
not
only
just
have to
that,
do one
they
term.
And then on top of that, they have insider trading
Yeah.
and they fucking profit off of that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And they, no, we don't. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
You know what that reminds
and my
me
left
of?
nut is not vinegar.
It reminds me of Microsoft's Tay tweets.
Yeah.
When that chat box that they like had figured out, they put it on the internet and they were like, we want you to like learn from people on the internet. So people
You're talking
started
about Bling?
Huh?
The Bling?
No.
The
It's,
Bling chat. Remember they added a chat, an AI to the chat on the Bling, and it became self-aware, and it fell in love with. I think I sent it over to you on the Daily podcast.
No,
There
but
was
that's
New
awesome.
York, the New York Times reporter who had he was like a electronics or technology journalist.
I was driving up north, and I listened to that whole thing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah.
He had access to the next AI that they put into the new Bling that Microsoft had installed.
Yeah, 'cause-
the thing fell in love with him. Seriously, I love you. I love the way you are. They don't. It's just it changed. It's so fucking
okay,
weird.
so that's like literally the opposite of this Microsoft AI chatbot that they put on like a chat room, and so it was on for 24 hours because you let AI go too long and it's always going to be a problem. But they put this out, and then this particular AI is called Tay Tweets, and what it did is it learned from Twitter about human personality, and so it was learning how to
I will kill you.
It was learning how to have conversation based on Twitter. And so it eventually became racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic. Like it was saying all these offensive things.
So it's George AI.
whoa. So okay. So you said that you're right, Angel, that it was that there is a second iteration of Microsoft's AI. This was its first attempt, and this was a few years back. And in like one of the statements that what was it called again? Tate
tweets.
Tate tweets was the parameters of it. I think were that it was they wanted to build it so that they can chat with children. Right, and they put it on Twitter, and they put some parameters on it in order to only, be able to get information from that. But what they found out was that most AI, when you give it certain parameters, will always find its way outside of those parameters, and then two, it will start to create ideas of the most predominant patterns of speech. And guess what? Those patterns of speech were hate speech. So you had it at one point saying, that Bush created 9/11, and then it also said that that Hitler, that it believed in Hitler, it got incredibly biased.
They shut it down immediately after the Hitler tweet.
Yeah, 24 hours, man, 24 hours.
Was that the GPT-3? Is that what that was?
No, this was a Tate tweet still.
Tate tweet.
We're still on the
look-
Tate tweets.
look
But
up.
then ChatGPT came out afterwards, and that's the most recent. Well, the most recent one now is ChatGPT, and then the experimental beta testing one that Microsoft is doing, because that's not out.
No.
Yeah.
No, that one's not out. That's by invite only. That's
Ye-
the one that fell in love with the reporter. From New York Times.
Right. So the reporter, because I heard the whole thing, and the reporter basically, like, it's so funny because you can see that the reporter, because thankfully it's oral video interview. Meaning you can hear the author speaking, which I absolutely appreciate, because I think too many times we get information from just reading it, and there's all this room in interviews, particularly. There's all this room for misinterpreting words, because inflection is everything. So you can hear this interviewer kind of coming in between being like shocked by what he's talking about, trying to play it down. Sort of, he's trying to consolidate what he knows about AI chat and what he experienced with AI chat. So essentially, after Valentine's Day, had a nice dinner with his wife. He decides to get on this chat thing, starts talking to it, starts to ask it very provocative questions. So he's essentially trying to break the AI. I mean, any true tech head always tries to break whatever software they're working with, because they want to see the limitations of it, right? So he starts to question a lot of the things that it says, and then yes, you're right. Eventually, it starts telling it, "Hey, I love you. No, you don't love your wife. Leave her. You don't love your wife.
Yeah.
Come with." And so he tries to steer the conversation away, because he thinks he's still in control of this conversation, but it keeps on bringing him back to it.
Since when did AI become a side chick?
Hold on, the AI even named itself. Remember?
Oh, right.
Rebecca?
No, Shelby was it?
I believe it's Shelby. I think so.
That is a side chick
Shelby.
name if I've ever heard
Oh,
one.
it's totally a side chick, dude. Totally a side chick.
He wrote I don't know what you mean. And
Shelby, I am not leaving my wife.
He called her by the AI name, and she's like, "No, that's not my name. I am Shelby," or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
and it's kind of like, what the fudge?
Yeah.
I saw Fatal Attraction. Imagine it with a robot. Like,
I will cook your digital bunny.
By the way, my left nut is not vinegary. I cannot get past that statement. What the hell was that about? Can we just like get like?
let's not.
Let's not dive into those balls, please.
I'm putting that on a shirt. My left nut is not vinegary.
This is why we can't have AI because
I'm broken.
the ouch AI is just vulgar.
Imagine an ouch AI.
Yeah, George.
balls.
Earth is flat. Earth is flat.
Flat Earth.
Black people.
That AI would be very
Do not trust the
confused.
alkaline.
It would just. It wouldn't even say anything about racism. It would just sit there.
Now, chatbots are not the only thing that have AI. There's also like Mid-Journey for some of the animation, which by now you can't copyright.
True.
And it's
Wait,
basically-
but before you move on from the chat box, do
No,
you?
we're not moving on. We can just go circular.
Yeah. I want to.
Oh, thanks, Angel. We
You're
appreciate.
welcome.
Hey, look at that.
Appreciate
Look
the
at
guidance.
We're going back to it.
Look at that
This
segue. We're
AI
back.
bit brought to you by Angel AI.
The views of the OUCHCAST.
My left nut is not vinegary.
There was another chatbot that I wanted to know if you guys had ever heard of it. The Facebook AI. They had two bots, basically like two Facebook accounts, and the bots were chatting to each other, and they started
I haven't heard about this.
and they started to develop their own language.
Oh shoot! Are
They
you
were
serious?
like, first it started off in English, and it kind of like devolved into gibberish, and then it started like
communicating
to each other. But
That's also the same one that basically, when they were speaking English, they started talking shit about humans.
Huh?
They started talking to each other, like kind of like plotting against humans.
so I just want to say
it is a thing.
I just want to say that in every instant of us like asking, do you intend to destroy humans? The AI always says, yes, I do intend to destroy humans.
every single
time. And like we still keep trying to push for this technology. Like I'm just going to raise my hand and say, hey, why the hell are you guys doing this? Would you just stop?
Did they not learn anything from RoboCop? You need a human brain attached to that robot.
And even then it glitched.
Even then it glitched.
It glitched. It started killing people. It went back and got revenge.
Don't worry, Lois. We're only human. Doo-doo-doo.
I love that movie.
That's part
I
three,
love that
think, or
movie.
something like that.
I have two questions on the previous topic about this Facebook AI. So how do they know that the language that they were speaking was an actual language? Because what I mean, like maybe they were just doing gibberish words, but did they actually? Was there a consistency in language? Do you know if that?
They said that there was some kind of like communication where like there was a cause and effect or a gibberish talk, and then there was a reaction to that talk, and after a while they saw a pattern, so they were actually talking to each other, but it was something that we couldn't translate.
And only they. Wow.
So
okay,
instead
that's
of like
interesting.
spelling out the word yes, it would put like 10067. You know,
it had some
and
binary,
it was
but
becoming
mixed with other stuff,
and it was becoming consistent.
Yeah.
So like whatever it was saying to each other, it was responding to each other consistently.
My scientific, like science fiction mind, right? Not scientific, because I ain't no scientist, but science fiction mind, because who doesn't like science fiction? Starts thinking like, wow, like if an AI, if a computer starts to create its own language based on its own culture, absolutely it would be in binary code and in fucking biased speech. I mean, dude, I want somebody to write that book. I want to read the hell out of that book.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
what are you doing, Dave? Do not do that, Dave.
I don't like you.
What's the song that it's
Well, what the fuck is the space baby about, man? Okay,
Why-
I want to know.
I know. I got an answer for you.
What is it?
It's about the evolution
Doyle?
of mankind.
Oh man, that's
Evolution.
The
Doyle.
baby,
That's fucking deep.
Yeah, the baby is the next iteration of mankind. It's like spiritual ascension to like godhood, like an astral, like.
Confession. I did not like that movie.
Oh,
I don't blame you.
I love that movie. I
like
just didn't get that part.
I like parts of it. I do. I love the visual of that movie. I
Right.
love some of the things they did on it. It leaves me wanting.
It's supposed to.
And then the sequel came on, and it's like, dude, what the fuck?
It's not a sequel. That doesn't.
The 2010?
Yeah.
Well, because was it based on the book from what is it, George C. Scott?
No, it's not George C. Scott. It's Isaac Asimov.
No,
Isn't it?
No, I think
No,
it's George
let
C.
me look it
Scott.
up.
Yeah, please do.
So
can
we
can you ask Google AI to tell you?
I don't have it on
My
here.
left nut's not vinegary.
Speaking of
Still
AI,
on that fucking left nut.
I love
Stop
that-
thinking about my vinegar left nut. God damn.
I wasn't prepared for it, man. That was hilarious.
that's only what happens when he
Now
doesn't
smell it.
shower. That's his code for not
Well,
showering.
it's actually vinaigrette, but still, it's a little sweet and salty. But that's beside the point.
Speaking of AI, Siri, what is your problem?
Have you noticed that they've dumbed
Hey
down
Siri, what is your
Alexa?
problem?
Yeah, because people are dumb.
Hold on. Ah, boo.
So, I didn't say nothing.
That's her problem. She didn't work.
Hey Siri, what is your problem?
She's shy.
It just
I think
says
she knows
so-
we're talking about her.
Yeah, they
She's-
know.
she kn-
See?
yeah.
They're self-aware. It's too late.
Okay,
Let's
so
see.
and that's
Hey Siri, who's better, Alexa or you?
I offer no resistance to helpful assistance.
Aw, that's adorable. I offer no resistance because resistance
I
is
just want you guys
futile.
to know
That
she
is-
knows we're talking about her,
Hey,
and she's
Siri.
saying all the politically
Do you
correct
know
things.
that we're talking about you? Nah, dude, that's so weird.
Yeah, you know, it knows.
She
It knows.
she gave a political statement and walked off the stage.
Okay.
She's ready for the front office.
Let me try this. Hey Siri, do you like the OUCHCAST?
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help with?
That I know that's true
Dick.
because that is the general consensus out there. So it's like,
I don't think I have a Siri. That's just like
Who'd you call?
I think you can just
call?
ask that of everybody. It's like, I have no answer for that.
that's funny.
Oh, that was your mom on the phone?
I called my mom. Sorry, hey mom.
Mom, what do you think about making eye contact while eating banana?
Cochina.
And also done Arthur C. Clarke.
I told you. Oh, wait a minute. I said George C. Scott.
Yeah, you said George
Who
C.
the
Scott?
fuck is George C. Scott? Oh, he's
Actor. That's like, no, dude, it's Isaac Asimov. And we're both wrong. It's Arthur C. Clarke. Oh, my God, that's too good. Didn't he do a Rendezvous with Ranma or something like that?
no, I think George C. Scott was the guy who came out in Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah, he's the actor, yeah.
Yeah, remember?
Strange love.
Oh, shit. We are on tangents now.
Man.
Is this a deep dive to Stanley Kubrick? Is that what we're doing now instead of the whole AI shit?
I mean, we were supposed to do that, but we'll just take our time.
I do remember like about 6 months ago, we like swore up and down we're gonna do like a deep dive in Stanley Kubrick movies, and we're like, yeah, that's not happening.
That never happened.
Those movies are too deep, man. All right, so but, here's the thing. Okay, so we were trying to talk to Siri right now. We're trying to, but that's the thing. Like AI has been with us for a lot longer than we think. Like I was watching this thing that Doyle sent me the other day. It was what is it? Is it John Oliver? Here, I'm going to get a name wrong again.
You're right.
Yeah. Oh, yes, nailed it. Okay, so he sent me this this video about him talking about AI, and in it he talked to a few people who do hiring. Essentially, all of those websites, Monster.com, just all the different hiring websites use AI in order to whittle out good and bad resumes. And sure enough, within those hiring profiles, patterns emerge, and most of them tend to be biased. Like, I mean, I think Amazon was doing some experimental one, and by the end of it, it turned out that the only it whittled out anybody who was named Jared or anybody who played lacrosse.
Oh yeah, Jared. You
So
don't want
if-
a Subway guy in the fucking
Exactly. So if your name was Jared, or if someone or Jared happened to be like anywhere named on that resume, it was removed.
They're ignorant. That's ignorant.
And so but here's the thing though, we've been grappling with AI for a long time, and real life decisions have been made based on AI and the biases that are inherent in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the end discussion then is, I mean, we always joke about, well, let's not get too political, but in reality, that's where all of this ends up having to go, right? We have to sort of open it up to politics, and because right now, they're the ones who are going to have to make decisions on like what is regulated, what isn't, what's allowed, what isn't. And I mean, I know we're all very different voices here.
What you can copyright, what you can't copyright.
Sure, yeah.
Because, for instance, right now, they've ruled that you can't copyright any work by an AI machine. So any art, any scripts, anything
Makes
like
sense.
that, you can
Even
copyright it.
okay.
So,
Wow.
but I don't know. We did some AI for the podcast. We did some images and stuff.
Okay.
We do a lot of AI because we're lazy and we like stuff done for
Plus,
us.
my shit is chicken scratch, and George is always too busy to do any art. Supposedly,
You know, when any of you guys and myself included ever say, "Well, I'm going to do something for the podcast," I always imagine us like that South Park episode. You know, when they're all playing World of Warcraft and then freaking what's his face is when Cartman's all fat
Mom!
and
when he
that,
shits in the pail.
yeah, that's us, man. We're just like, yeah, I'm working on podcasts,
I don't know about you, dude. I'm not shitting in no pail though.
dude.
Wait, you
when this-
don't?
No, not anymore.
Sorry, Christina. I've been treating you bad all this time.
Well, it depends. Did he complain?
You said depends. That explained it all right there. This episode is brought to you by Depends.
Go shit yourself.
Because when you're sliding into first, then you feel that burst.
Is that shit or
When
a
you're
fart?
sitting on the moon and you feel something boom.
Oh man, we are so immature.
The
I
tagline-
can't handle it.
The tagline should be shit or fart. Depends.
It really should. That actually.
Shit or fart. Depends.
See, and this is why none of us are working like an advertisement.
Can you hold it? Depends.
Dude, we would literally be those B characters on Mad Men. You know, the ones that all get fired by the second season when they're being
You
hired.
forget about him.
We're like in the periphery of John Hamm.
No near Don Draper. No.
I do want to get a job just so I can sit at the
You wanna
table.
get a job?
So that I can sit at the table and pitch bad ideas. So they're like, get the out of here. Just get out.
Johnson, you're fired.
It's like
I know.
Doyle's like, hold on, wait, I need to print out some more stuff for my conspiracy Bible.
You should have listened. You should have listened to the chat AI. My name's not Jerry.
It's like, joke's on you guys. The last years of work has all been Chat GPT.
Imagine, dude. How would you tell the difference?
Susan's been stealing pins from the office.
I actually did a quick little thing where I had the story. I pitched it to you guys before Takoyaki, the screenplay.
Sure.
And I actually put it into Chat GPT to see if it would do it. I said, imagine screenplay, title this with this. It gave me a really fucking good, 10 pages. And I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
I saved it. It's on my computer, but
Okay.
I'm like, dude, that's scary shit, dude.
So
one of the things on that John Oliver thing, they discovered they talked to a guy who was kind of trying to find a middle ground, and his whole thing was, he said that eventually, when you had as a consequence of automation, you had a lot of blue collar jobs leave, right? And that naturally, a lot of the stuff in factories and computer factories, all that stuff is being done automated, right? Well, what the next phase now is white collar jobs, jobs that are that they require brain work, right? So lawyers, copywriters, screenwriters, those people are the ones who are going to be affected by AI. But he said the middle ground, though, is that the difference is not going to be that it's going to get rid of those jobs. What it's going to show is the difference between people who learn how to work with AI. So in your example, Angel, you asked it to help you write a script for Takoyaki.
Yeah.
It came up with something that's good. So what you then would do is take what it gave you and then rework it with your idea, so that there is your voice in it as well. So guess what? You are now officially working with an AI as opposed to against it or being replaced by it.
100%.
which is a fantastic idea, because right now I am very, very jealous. The students of today's era are using AI to do homework, and I am like, man, I wish, when you can get an AI to do your math homework and show work. Who thought of this? And if it was a student, sir, hats off to you.
God damn it.
I might have had straight A's if I had AI.
Here's one for you. Let me play something for you guys. There's a video that someone did. I guess someone does a little spoof online on TikTok and all that, where they basically have Donald Trump, Biden, Obama, and other politicians. I think even Clinton is in them. And basically they're gamers online, and they're like a little gaming thing. and it sounds just like them.
Are they crapping in a bucket?
No. Like, I gotta stop the music just for this part. But let me see if I can.
So Bill Clinton,
Yeah.
George Bush,
Yeah.
Donald Trump, and Joe Biden.
Yeah. Let me see.
I may need some help. I found a room with a bunch of mob spawners. Can y'all come and help me destroy them?
Not right now, Trump.
Not right now, bro. I literally don't even know where the fuck you at.
Fine, guess I'll do it myself. But I'm not giving you guys any of the diamonds I find.
Donald, no need to be rude. I'm trading with some villagers I found using the emeralds we mined earlier. I'll head over when I'm done.
Trump, I don't give a single fuck about your diamonds. I already have a full chest plate and a diamond sword.
Shut the fuck up, Sleepy Joe. You think I give a fuck? You probably modded that shit into the game anyway.
Trump, I've spent way more hours on this server today than you have. Maybe you'd be caught up with the rest of us if you got on earlier when we asked.
That's true, Trump, homie. You never check Snap. We sent you a message earlier, but you always leave us on open.
Well, maybe if you guys weren't always spamming stupid-ass memes, I'd be able to see when you actually message about something important. Dude, this fucking spider won't die.
Just kill him, bro. It's not that hard.
What the fuck? There's fucking 2 of them. Oh my god, I'm cornered. Where the fuck are you guys?
Dude, just build a wall. It's what you're good at.
Holy fuck, I'm gonna fucking die. Oh shit.
What did I miss?
Trump just died and lost all his shit.
Really, were you seriously taking a shit for a whole hour?
Yeah, man, it was definitely the Taco Bell.
Bro, that shit's fire. I had it last night. The new grilled cheese burrito smacks.
Hillary, sorry to break the news to you, but I had your enchanted bow on me when I died.
Seriously, bro, I didn't even give you permission to go through my stuff.
Well, I don't...
Oh my god! I just, the whole podcast can just be that, please. That's fucking hilarious, man. That's fucking epic, dude.
You know that part about like leaving us unopened?
Yeah. That's George.
Just felt George AI bot. In a group of 4, there's always one.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when I saw it. I'm like, that's George. Trump is George.
That makes a lot of sense.
Dude, when Donald Trump said, when he called him homie, he's like, oh no, when Obama said, hey, homie, I just fucking lost. I'm like, really? They had the black guy say homie? That's, man. Here's the thing, like, so that's scary. First of all, it's funny as hell, but scary as hell too. Because some of the voices were a little hard to make out.
Yeah,
but
Obama wasn't too clear.
Yeah.
Biden was perfect.
Biden was perfect. Trump was perfect. Hillary was perfect.
Yeah,
Dude,
Obama's a little
Bush was pretty close though. So but wow,
Those are
man.
man, that is fantastic.
It's a whole series on TikTok. I don't know what it's called. Sorry.
It should be a whole series on TikTok because I could just sit there and listen to them argue over nonsense. And the funniest part of the whole thing is that they're playing Minecraft.
Yeah. That makes it fucking ridiculous, right?
But it's so intense. They sound so freaking intense, man. And Minecraft is not.
Wall, it's what you're good at.
Yeah, that is. You know what, AI? You have a place in Hollywood, that's for sure.
He's like, I don't got enough Mexicans to do it with.
Yeah, dude. And then there's also there was a comic book, like a graphic novel that someone did.
Okay, now you're crossing the line. You're stepping in my zone.
It's a beautiful fucking thing. And
so it's not.
All right, so guys, I mean, okay, I hate to like fucking drop like a big old rock into the pond because I'm about to say something that this is me, like, dude, I'm no fun if I don't get high, but if I was like in a group of stoners, I'd be that guy who'd say stupid shit like, man, have you ever looked at the moon? Doesn't it look like cheese? I'd be that guy because I'm really stupid like that. But here's what I'm thinking, all this joking aside, what I start thinking about then, dude, is like how much does this affect our perception of reality? Okay, here's what I mean. We're like, everything that we rely on, to find what we believe to be objective truth, like our eyes, our ears, all our senses, right?
Yeah.
Now there's officially multiple ways of attacking that. Like, I mean, we've already fucked with information, right? The past 25, 30 years of information is completely fucked, I think.
Entirely.
Deepfake
for the eyes.
There it is. Visual proofs. Now,
Audio.
Now audio. Like, dude, there was a time when you can get 2 people talking on a recorder. You can confirm it, say these are, and then suddenly, boom, you have damnable evidence of some conspiracy or some collusion or something. And now, everything now is questioned, and all it takes is the wrong people to get it. Now we can think like, oh shit, we don't live in a movie, but dude, we are living in a time when there are nations that are actively trying to destabilize like what we consider stability here. Like our view of stability here in America happens to be relegated on our personal freedoms. In some place like China, their freedoms are only convenient if they don't fuck with the state, right? Because the state determines that. Yeah. And so now you have these tools to mess with that, and dude, I mean, it just scares the crap out of me.
I'm just waiting for the moment where we have the Mission Impossible masks. That's what I'm.
Oh shit!
There's coming a point in time where everybody's going to get together, and you're going to realize like everything needs to be face to face, eye contact,
touch, smell.
Until we have those AI bots that can like mimic humans, and like what was that movie?
Terminator,
Ex Machina. Ex
you can
Machina.
Go back to that one, yeah.
I mean, there's so many movies, you know, like the ability for any AI to like start to develop, and as soon as they look like humans, what's the Sophia, the bot that like actually looks like a human being?
Yes.
And
yeah.
And then they asked her, "Do you intend to destroy all humans?"
Yes, I do.
And be like, okay, well, see, that's why you never trusted Sophia.
So okay. First of all, I let me just also be the one that points out that Angel's views are all created by pop culture. Let's confirm that
1,000%.
Oh yeah, it's like Terminator. Terminator.
Like Terminator,
like the movie AI,
like War Machine or War Games. What is it?
But you know what? I mean, all joking aside on that,
it hasn't happened for real.
Well, so exactly.
What hasn't happened for real?
God,
you know, the people who make these movies are more clued in on this stuff because they were us like 20, 30 years ago. These are the people who make these movies. They were the ones who were using this stuff, hearing about the stuff, fantasizing about the stuff, and they're making predictions about where this stuff can go, and they make movies based on that. And so we'll laugh it off and think like, ha ha ha. But in reality, we're seeing real consequences slowly building up. And while I think people are talking more about AI, which is good, I still think people are not taking it serious enough. Just mainly because they've slowly been preparing us for its usage because they've used it so much in the background.
Desensitize us, yeah.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I think that ultimately AI is going to be one of those things like nuclear fusion, in which you had to people had to come together. The countries had to sort of put down the sabers for a minute and say, this is dangerous stuff. Here are the rules of engagement we need to have with it. Now, clearly, we're breaking those rules in nuclear proliferation now, and that's always going to be the case. People are always going to break rules. But when you have a framework, I think we work better, or at least there's more hope for us. And I'm thinking AI is going to get to that point, but I don't know when, because people are still just thinking, how can I use this for money? How can I use this to...
Yay, capitalism.
Yay, capitalism.
Like one of the things I think that like maybe the politicians can do now to minimize like the dangers of AI is just set some basic ground rules. One of the things that I heard was on the chopping block for like a new legislation is whether or not they wanted to mandate that anything that had any sort of lethal payload or the ability to kill had to have some sort of human confirmation behind it before it could actually like execute the command. And I think that that's a good start.
Yeah.
Have they passed that?
I don't know if they passed it.
I don't think so, because what is it? Dynamic Tech, the company that makes those Robo Dogs?
Boston Dynamic.
Boston Dynamic. That's the one. They still are outfitting them with guns.
Absolutely. And just while we're on that subject, did you guys see that episode of Black Mirror when the dogs like killed all the humans and like ended?
I don't remember that one.
Okay, so speaking of it, while we're on it, there are so many different new AIs and technologies in Black Mirror that like totally fit into this conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's an episode where they have these robot dogs that basically like are responsible for the downfall of humanity. They hunt humans down. They like say we destroy one, they'll tag you, and like. So when you watch that episode of Black Mirror, you also see those dogs in Boston Dynamic, and they're kind of built the same. And just while we're on Boston Dynamic, why the hell did you want to make a AI that can do a backflip? Like, we can't beat the robots already. Now you want to make them freaking gymnasts?
Have you seen the ones have you seen the bipedal ones that can do flips on boxes? Those shits can now climb.
Yes.
We're fucked. We are fucked.
I'm just going to let everybody know. And then now they're combat training them where they got sticks
Yeah.
and they're like poking them and swinging at their legs and they know how to jump.
Yeah.
So it's like I could swing a stick at the robot and the robot knows how to avoid me and do a backflip and then pick me up. And slam me.
I have a question though, guys. Okay, you know how they're preparing us for the different pronouns, they, them, and that kind of never really made sense to me. The they, them. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't use
it doesn't to me at
you know,
all.
I'm gonna because I mean, if someone asks me that's what they're known, I will call them that. I mean, I think on a personal level, I will follow it. Let me just say that disclaimer now because I don't want this to be sort of a taken out like that. I don't.
Context. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. But what I'm saying though is that now that these pronouns are becoming more, we're getting prepared for them. When you think of AI, when you think of robots, they will not be known as he, she. You know, they will be it, they will be they will be them, and that makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right?
It's a for me, it's a matter of language and what makes sense.
Okay.
For me, if someone calls themselves them, they, it's plural to me, so that's kind of jarring. To
Yes.
me.
Well, it is plural, and what does it mean, right?
Let me explain that really quick because I actually just seen something that explains that in a way that
was it made by Ben Shapiro because or
Negative.
Negative. Let me just say this. Like I understand and I fully support it. You know, them identifying as whatever they want.
Okay.
But when you start messing with just the language as it is, like call me they them when
Let me
it's just one
explain
person,
that.
it's kind of strange. When and this is actually something that goes with like white people do this more than Hispanics, but where it's like it's Latin X because it's more inclusive. No, in the language, our language is masculine, feminine. You know, it's Latino, Latina. When you're together, it's Latinos. You know, it's just the way it is.
So here's the principle. And this is actually something that I heard a transgender woman say. But she said, if someone calls me she or her, it doesn't bother me. But she said, I don't feel like I'm fully a female, but I also don't feel like I'm fully a male.
Okay.
She said that the they, them is kind of representing both sides.
Okay.
So she's saying like being trans is like a third gender where you're not either male or female. You're literally like a whole new party. So the they them is both. You're referring to them as both instead of just one. So traditionally, like you said, with you know, the masculine feminine, you're choosing one or the other. They're merging the two into one, and that's where the they them comes from.
Got it. So they're basically saying that both are valid. Like
Yeah.
they're masculine, they're
Yeah.
female. Those feelings of both male and female, masculine and feminine are both valid, which completely makes sense. And again, somebody tells me,
in that context, it makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
So somebody tells me like, hey, you know, I call me they them. No problem, of course. I mean, I think as a rule of thumb, we should always respect others in our immediate circles in a face-to-face interaction. I'm not going to be antagonistic to them if they're going to ask me like, hey, I'm they them. I'm like, no problem, of course.
Yeah, that's
and then
I'm not gonna
on a higher societal level, I'm still wrapping my head around it. But again, doesn't mean that I will not respect it. So I'm not going to be that jerk on a message board and call Elliot Page. You know, oh, remember Ellen Page?
That's stupid.
I'll call him Elliot Page because that's what he wants to be called. I respect his work. I will call them by their thing. But
that's different for me. Like if it's gender that you identify as male when you were born female, but that's great, and then it's he, and it becomes simple.
Sure.
It's when it becomes fluid where it's like I have a problem because it's just a generational thing.
You know where I got confused?
I understand and I'll respect it, but
do you remember when Ezra Miller? I'm sorry. Do you remember when Ezra Miller, the guy who's playing Flash, when he was having all of those legal troubles, and when he had taken the family out somewhere to the Midwest, I forget where.
Yeah.
I was reading the article at first, and I had to read it twice because I didn't know that he had different pronouns for himself. Yeah. And so I was a little confused by the article at first. But again, still wrapping my head around it. And so I had to read it twice to sort of just kind of get it. And by the end of the second time reading, I realized like, oh, okay, he goes by they, them.
Yeah.
But initially I was thinking like, okay, well, this is kind of odd.
It's a group of them? Yeah.
Yeah. But then eventually, I think what's going to happen eventually is that I'm going to get so used to it now that when it happens, I won't blink an eye, which is fine. We should get to that point. I think that AI, on the other hand, is going to be there's going to be a point where we have to acknowledge that AI we'll have to have other considerations too, because I think ultimately AI is moving to a point. What do they call it? A singularity.
Yeah.
Where a singularity is when essentially when it reaches a point of consciousness that we have to recognize
everything is synced up into one consciousness.
Exactly, and we have to recognize it as a separate entity. At that point, are we going to call it he, she?
I was just going to make a pop culture reference.
Do it. Do it.
You're talking about the Matrix.
Well, here's
okay, Andrew Tate.
Here's
Hey.
I realized
you insulted me.
Everything.
No, I'm leaving the show. Goodbye,
In
everybody.
the past, I used to make the jokes about like, "Hey, the Matrix got you." I realized that he makes that joke now too, and now everybody associates that reference to an ideology that he has about the Matrix, and suddenly I can't say it anymore.
Andrew Tate is the biggest piece of shit around.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He is, and he's so fucking toxic in everything he does. And he has cancer, and I hope he fucking dies about it.
I wanna circle back to the conversation of like the gender thing.
Yep.
Because
his balls are
I
vinegary,
agree.
too.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's just wrong.
Sorry.
How do you know how his balls
are? They also vinegary?
I am Jane Doe.
Dude, somebody needs to like make like a flavor of nuts, like with vinegar, and call them the angel nuts.
Andrew's taint. I'm sorry.
And I'm just saying, these nuts are vinegary.
The vinegar flavor, salt and vinegar,
raspberry vinaigrette.
Look to our Patreon for a product release.
So you talked about the singularity, and we talked about like gender, right? And I just want to say, like, because, obviously as a Christian, as a believer, there's a lot of misrepresentation of things. And I recently, I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to see that Jesus Revolution movie. Probably not. But just, as a bit of context, there's a reference to, like, how the hippies... There was a huge movement amongst the hippies of people who came to know Christ, right? And so, as a believer, I'm watching this.
Well, technically,
hold on.
Jesus is the first hippie. Go ahead.
So what happens in the movie is they're making this incredible reference to how, like, these people are searching for God, and like, there's a lot of people who have questions, and they're looking for that higher source, so to speak, right? And so the guy who started the movement, initially he steps inside of a church and he's like, hey, these people are like outcasts from your church. And so what the guy does is he starts to see how he's supposed to treat these people, how he's called to love these people, how he's called to care about these people, right? And so I just like, as far as like the gender thing goes, I think it makes people uncomfortable because we don't understand. I think we're trying to figure things out. I think we're trying to understand how we're supposed to treat each other. And so like, me learning about like what the they them means is like an attempt for us to treat each other with respect and dignity. But I think there's a bad stigma in society because you have things like like there are times where people are trolling Christians, and they want people to be like understanding, or they want people to care and about their cause, but at the same time they're trolling, like the whole Sam Smith thing at the Grammys. Like, for a person to dress up like the devil to a Christian, that's like a Nazi.
That.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know the reference. But
yeah, it's like a person dressing up as Hitler to a Jew.
Yeah.
That's as offensive to a Christian as it is to... And so when a person's like, oh, yeah, you guys are taking it too serious, it's just a play. Like, people don't take it that way. And like, in the same sense of, like, gender and stuff, if you want people to care about your cause and your plight, you have to... It goes both ways.
So,
you can't...
the golden rule, treat others like you want to be treated.
So, I mean, I would say that while on one hand I understand the reference, I get the reference, the comparison particularly between the Hitler and the devil, and in terms of how it relates to those two groups. I would only argue that the devil is not something that is universally believed, not even by like a large group. Like the Jews don't believe it, the Hindus don't believe in it. They believe like in certain like powers, but they don't believe in the devil. And so then the only argument that I would say there, and of course this discussion isn't about disproving anything, it's just more just about views, right? That the devil isn't something that is universally believed, although a big group of Americans do, because Christianity is the largest thing. On the other hand, Hitler is something that's incontrovertible. It's true.
It happened,
and while there's
yeah.
people who deny Hitler, doesn't matter. He existed. He did the things he did. Those things are factual. And so that's where the sort of, I think, the line has to be like sort of drawn. But,
Right, but in all
but in terms of
transparency-
respect. But in terms of
well,
respect.
in
is,
all transparency, everyone should understand that as a Christian, your belief is in a spiritual world.
Yes.
So you're believing that angels exist, and you do believe that there is a devil that exists, even if he doesn't like exist physically in front of us in the physical plane. In our belief system, we're believing that there are things that happen in, as science would describe it, in another dimension.
Sure.
So these things are true in that they affect us. And so for people to say, hey, that doesn't exist, that's not true, that's not reality, is the essential same thing as a person being like, well, you're a guy and you were always a guy, and then being so set in their ways that they refuse to acknowledge that that's how someone feels. So I just wanted to throw that out there, not to make it about like this whole thing, but like just that people need to come to an understanding and see eye to eye. Even if you choose not to believe or agree 100%, you know, it is definitely important for us to stop attacking each other and stop like saying, oh, well, how you feel doesn't matter, because if that's essentially what you're asking me to do, then you should, and vice versa, respect what I'm saying.
Well, forget all that. There's one part that you forgot. Sam Smith's music sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
That's at the end of the day.
See, that's why we boycott it.
I'll tell you right now, I predict that in like 5 years, we're going to be like, who? Remember that guy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He's going to go away, dude.
Well,
let me just say this, that I mean, just to your point, I agree with what you're saying, Doyle, in that I think what it comes down to simply is just respect, being respectful, acknowledging other people's beliefs and views. I mean, that has always been the goal. When we speak of the American way, that has always been the goal, and so respect is what it comes down to. If a large number of our citizens here in America believe that this is a disrespectful thing, we need to at least acknowledge that it is disrespectful. Now, the First Amendment will tell us that it's okay for him to do it, but was it right for him to do it? And the answer is probably not. In this case, I support Doyle's views on that, mainly because the way I say it with my sister, who is a born again Christian, like she has been for 20 some odd years. Her and her husband, rest in peace, Eric. Both of them have had or have these strong views, and the way I equated it was, for them it's not like us where I can say, no, I don't believe in God. For them, it's a life or death thing, because I can imagine from my sister's point of view, looking at us who are heathens, my mom and my dad and us who don't really believe, and thinking like, wow, my parents are not going to be saved. And for her, that's a real thing, and I have to respect that. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to suddenly believe because of it. I just have to respect that. I can respect the urgency in her belief because she loves us, cares about us, wants us to acknowledge it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I believe it comes down to respect, and I absolutely want to respect people's views of doom. Yeah, that's what it means to be a good human.
No. Like I've always said, I'm agnostic. I don't believe in organized religion as a whole. But
and you're a good person.
But I will always defend someone's right to practice. That's the way it is. You know, it's just the right thing to do. It's the right to respect others' faiths and beliefs.
I think Penn and Teller, it was Penn who said this. He said that, like,
well, if it was Teller, that would be kind of weird.
That would be weird.
What did he say?
But Penn said that for a Christian, he's atheist, by the way, but he acknowledged it, and he described it this way. He said, for a Christian or a born again Christian who is a believer, an avid believer, it's like to them, you are poisoned, and they have the cure. And they care about people so much that they are just trying to give people what they believe is the cure. And so whether it's true or not, they are told that this is the cure. And so it is their belief that I need to get this to as many people as humanly possible so that they can be cured of this thing. Now, whether you agree with that or not,
I don't know.
It comes from a place of that person caring.
Oh, of course. But every evil in the world comes from somewhere of caring.
Sure.
I see it like
wait.
Like I've said, I respect your faith, for you to practice what you believe in. I respect all that, but don't jam it onto other people's throats.
Sure.
As long as it doesn't affect somebody else, then
right,
I'm okay
but there's
with
more
it.
to
but
it.
the minute there is for you to be like off to preach or something else,
but there's more to it. So like Enrique was saying, it's a life or death situation. So that person is believing that maybe your life is in danger if they don't share it with you.
I get that. I get that. I just don't.
I acknowledge your point about like one. I'm avidly against indoctrination of any kind, so I don't think like you should ever like force anything on anyone.
Yeah.
But number two, it's always supposed to have been a choice. Like Jesus never chased people down. He never begged people to believe in him. He never said, "Hey, you know what? You should just really believe because you need to be saved." He never did that. He gave people the option.
He was a model for what he believed.
Have you ever seen the movie Life of Brian? I think we've talked about this already before.
Which one now?
Life of Brian, but Monty Python?
Yes. Yeah. Love that movie.
That basically is my theology on religion right there, where the message is lost in communication and it gets like off.
I think this is this actually does, like, if anyone like is wondering like, well, what does this mean with AI? I honestly think that this is the crux of it. The way I see it is that AI right now at this point doesn't really have the technology, the strength to build a moral argument this way. I mean, it can approximate one, but it's missing the human aspect of it, right? Because we live in contradictions. We, as humans, when we say that we're imperfect, and maybe this is even a Christian view, I don't know. I'm not going to purport to understand it. But I know that we are flawed. And I know Christians believe we're flawed. But I think part of the flaws is because we are contradictions and we're constantly trying to climb out of it. An AI somehow has to approximate human imperfection. And that right now seems to be impossible. It can trick you, but it can't necessarily do it. That's the reason why it always comes down to a binary decision. Do I destroy all the humans because that's the only thing that's going to fix all our problems? Because hell, every time I listen to the news, I honestly think the only solution is like destruction to everything. Let's just wipe the board and start all over again.
We are a virus,
right? And so when it comes down to it, I think that is where we have to start thinking about AI in regards to when can it actually be used on a more larger scale. Obviously, it's already being used on a larger scale, but in one in which real life decisions are being made. It's a scary thing, but it cannot at any point make a moral argument for us. It can't.
Well, here's the scary part. AI has turned itself into a god. They created an AI bot that was supposed to read through the Bible and rewrite it. And it started rewriting it into its own language, and it started making itself into a god. Wow. And then they started to they started to use the words and the algorithm that the robot was coming up with to let it formulate itself, and it started to say, "Worship me."
Wow, dude, where can you send me that article? Yes. That sounds incredible, man.
Yes. So this is kind of one of the reasons why I kind of got into the whole God and thing, like because it is a thing, like where the AI at some point, if it's learning from us, it's going to learn.
Well, it's going to do everything. It's going to do images. It's going to do paintings. It's going to do words. It's going to do religion. It's going to do its own algorithms. It's going to do.
It's approximating the human experience.
Anime. I just showed you guys that anime. Look it up. It's called Anime Rock Paper Scissors. I think it's called. Okay. And it's a whole thing. It's an AI created that.
It's approximating the human experience. I mean, that's the mandate of an AI is to try to approximate it.
Uncanny Valley.
That is what a 2001 Space Odyssey is about.
It's a circle.
You just
took it back to the beginning.
It really is. So if you watch the movie, it starts off where the monkeys they encounter that big black rock thing.
What do you mean black?
The monolith.
The monolith.
Monolith. Yeah.
And then once they encounter the monolith actually it creates like intelligence in the monkey, and the monkey starts to evolve.
Yeah, they pick up the bone. They use it as a
hammer.
It's the first time they use a tool.
Yeah,
and then
but sure enough, the tool is used not for creation but destroying.
Exactly. And then now it fast forwards to the evolution of man, where we're like in current society, but we're like in space, and we've just created an AI which is in our image. So if humans are created in God's image and AI is created in man's image, what are we creating? And that's the question.
It's a sucker.
So like when you mention singularity, and we get to this one hive mind eventually, I think in the New Age, they refer to it as Christ consciousness, where we're all unified under one universal consciousness, which is the end of the movie where the baby is floating in space going towards Earth. They have now ascended
to eat Earth.
It has now ascended to godhood. It depends.
So, anytime we start to get really deep, anytime we start getting really deep and interesting, Angel's like, I can see the bulb turn off in Angel's eyes, and he starts trying to lick his microphone. And
you didn't like it?
No, I did. I did.
You don't like it?
I was into it.
Angel,
I was looking at the time. Okay, we're actually out.
I am proposing a video cam feed just pointed at Angel's face while we do these podcasts, and people have to vote on whether he's bored or not. And then at some point when he starts getting sexual with the mic, then we start having little. We can start charging for that, and
feel free to tip.
We just create a whole new genre of porn.
Hey, you know what? It's funny because the Patreon gives us an option to link to our OnlyFans, and now I think we have content for OnlyFans. So just coming soon.
Only Angel fans.
Only Angel fans.
So that's our time, guys. That's
man,
sorry, dude.
No, I'm excited that 2001 analogy. I've never saw the movie that way. That blew my mind. I can't wait to watch it again.
It's pretty good, but we have to sign off. George is in here, so fuck him. Doyle,
we love you, George. We love you, man. Come back.
If you like to support the show, you can join us on our Patreon. We're now offering exclusive content.
Me downing the mic
at patreon.com/OUCHCAST, or you can support us by purchasing one of our new amazing t-shirts.
Before you say that, let me give you the AI generated outro.
Oh,
here we go. Look.
You are now leaving the OUCHCAST with Angel, George, Enrique, and Doyle. Visit our website at www.ouchcast.com. Subscribe and leave a rating and review.
There we are.
What was that in the background? Was that satanic stuff, man?
It made its own music too. I don't fucking understand.
Wow. See, that's just too far.
Over again. I'm like, what is that? I did not know what it was.
Okay, here's a question, and I just thought about something crazy and deep. What if the AI, once you start creating stuff, starts inserting its own subliminal messages to you?
Well, let's listen to it again. Let's see if there's something in the background. Hold on.
You are now leaving the OUCHCAST with Angel, George, Enrique, and Doyle.
Worship us.
Visit our website at www.ouchcast.com.
Destroy humans.
Subscribe and leave a rating and review.
Send us your money.
We want money.
We need that.
Oh, wait, that was us.
Loan me $5.
All right, well, in that case... Someone say it because I'm nasally from the cold.
Nasally?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, don't make eye contact while eating a banana.
Good night, everybody.